This is el Arsenal de la Puntilla. It's where the Spaniards used to keep all their munitions. And now you see the two banners announcing the exhibition, the American House. It's a link between Córcega and Puerto Rico. This beautiful building has a couple of courtyards. We're entering into the main courtyard where the hall where the exhibition is kept is. It's the west wing of the courtyard. So we're approaching the main door. And we had 300 people here the inauguration night. So it was a pretty full courtyard. We had coffee vendors, we had a cocktail, we had good wine. So this is the door, and I'm going to open the door now. And welcome into the exhibition. We have the main panel. Obviously it's in Spanish now. And we have the credit panel where you will see the logos of the University of Córcega and of the direction of heritage in Bastia. So, this is the first hall, and it's dedicated to the diaspora Corsican, and we have some panels here describing the diaspora, the regions where mostly the Corsicans left. We also have a view of the villages and how the villages were organized in the 19th century. And we also have a panel here with some images, the typology that was developed during the 19th and early 20th century of what the Corsican type was. We also have a panel here with the departure, the reasons for the departure, and a letter which is from my great-grandfather speaking about the terrible things that happened from his exit to Marseille, notwithstanding to the exit that he left from Marseille to St. Thomas. So we also have this last panel in this wall that speaks about where the Corsicans migrated all around the world, but in particular, in our case, in Puerto Rico, and the communes, municipalities where they settled. We also have this wall with the title of the room, Two Islands with Shared Histories. So when we enter into this wall, we have the it's affective or emotional encounter, and it's the marriages that occurred here in Puerto Rico between Corsicans and the Puerto Rican women. And we follow with another wall that it's the return of the Corsican American and their contributions to the island of Corsica. We're using some of the drawings done by Peck of the buildings in Bastia, some photographs of the growth of the city, and also in the Cap Course where they developed and added to churches, to the waterworks, to the roadworks, etc. And finally we have the case of Figarella, where the American money made a new entrance to the village and developed a whole new idea of what was to live in Figarella. We pass then through the flag of Corsica. We pass in the same hall to the contributions the Corsican did during the 19th century to Puerto Rico, the sweet and bitter heritage, which is talking about sugar, and the sugar mills and the industrialization they did to the production of sugar in Puerto Rico. The workmen that aided and suffered most of the hard work, and coffee with the explosion of the coffee plantation here in the island. We also have this wall that shows the other aspect of Corsicans that came, which were the professionals, that they did either hotels like the French hotels in Ponce and other towns, and the shops, the bazaars. We had priests, we had rum producers, we have different architects that came to Puerto Rico, and it's explained in these panels. And finally, we also talk in this hall about the contribution of the second generation, the children of Corsicans, and particularly for us important is the Giorgetti family. This is a mural, a triptych that was done by artist Manuel Garcia Fonteboa, celebrating the now defunct, non-existent Giorgetti Palace here in San Juan, and we did the model also of this huge and enormous house, which was called the Palacete, the small palace. It was built in 1924 by architect Antonin Nicodoma for Eduardo Giorgetti, a son of a Corsican doctor who made his fortune with sugarcane and coffee. As you will notice, we also have some of the details that have been lost in the house, which is this Tiffany glass mosaic of the coffee plant that was in part of the house. And we also have here contributions of other sons of Corsicans to different islands, to different towns in the island, besides Eduardo Giorgetti. We also have the European education that these sons and daughters of Corsicans received. You see Giorgetti, you see Juvera Mate, you see Vivoni family, that they went to the Lycée de Bastia to study during their infancy. Some others went on to La Sorbonne. We also have musicians, we have opera singers, we have tenors, sopranos, we have priests, we have revolutionaries that came from these families. Córcega settled in Puerto Rico. And we also have panels with architecture of these Corsican in Puerto Rico. Mainly the first generation had houses very standard architecture, but the second generation, having arrived with other ideas than living in a plantation, did very unique architectural expressions in their buildings. So, to end this hall, and it's also the exit of the exhibition, we also had this panel with all the Corsican last names, surnames that we have found through the publications and the book Biographical Dictionary of Corsicans here in Puerto Rico, done by the Corsican Association here in Puerto Rico. So now we move to the second hall, which is dedicated to the students and to the studies program in Corsica. I'm sure you'll recognize the symbol. And the return of the Puerto Ricans to Corsica to document the different American houses. These are maps. This wall is completely of maps. And on each map are images of all the buildings that were documented the different years. So it's PEC 1, PEC 2, PEC 3, and I'll zoom in into PEC 3, and you will see the different projects done and the location in the map. And we have all PEC 6, plus the first map includes the buildings that we documented in Bastia. And this wall has PEC, Programa de Estudios, and Córcega done with photographs of different activities that the students and professors did in their time, in their summer time in Córcega. We also have this panel that gives the name of everybody that participated in the program from here, from Puerto Rico, the students and the professors. And we have a video running in a loop of videos that were taken by the students during their travel, and some other video material that shows what Córcega looks like. And we had an artist, Naimar Ramirez. She studied at the School of Architecture, but now is an artist in paper. And we asked her to locate the 6 main t-shirts that were done. And I'm sure Michel Edouard, you will remember these t-shirts. And she's done these mannequins in paper, mostly using the paper that we discarded from the exhibition. And the students taking photographs or measuring or drawing, etc. In this hallway, in this hall, we also have additional panels, which is the work that some of the students did. We also are comparing here the field work, like in this building that you see here, the sketch that they did in the field, and the final drawing that was done later on. I think it's a beautiful way of showing the manner in which the students behaved in their studies program. And we also have the projects, some of the projects that were done by the students, and we end with these, in this wall, with these 2 projects, which were projects done by students as their end of career project to graduate from the School of Architecture, their master's program. And they did their project in two places. One, the Mariani House in Rogliano, and the other, the remise of the Piccioni estate in Pino. So as you can see, much work not only was done in Córcega, but also here afterwards at the University of Puerto Rico. And then the last wall shows what has been published in the newspapers here in Puerto Rico and in Córcega about our students. The first year we had 10 weeks of publications called the Diary from Córcega, where each week we wrote giving the account of what the students were doing. This was the first year of the program, so we wanted to be sure that people knew what was happening with their students. And then we have this, which are the different publications for the different PEC in the Course Matan newspaper. So this kind of gives the public the idea of how the return of Puerto Ricans to Córcega did the study. Okay. Now we enter into the main and long hall, which we have divided into the first space, which is the documentary that was done it's called Entretissé in French, Islas Entretejidas, Intertwined Islands. And we have them in monitors here with the, it's in French. For those who understand French can look at it. It's translated the Spanish-speaking part into French, in English, and in Spanish. So the idea is to give the opportunity. We had the premiere of the documentary on August the 10th outside exhibition. This that you see here is the interior of this house in Yauco, which is of the Franceschi family, and they were fortunate enough to be able to have the plafond peintre and the walls. So then we enter into the exhibition of the models, which is called La Casa de los Americanos, the House of the Americans, opulence with measure. So this is the main hall. Here are the 14 models. The models are organized and placed in the hall in this manner. We have 4 categories of the models, which are the ancestral homes with intervention, American intervention, the new houses with traditional forms the classical house, and variations to the house. And here it's interesting because we have this map of the Cap course with the location of each of the houses, and these are QR seals, so anybody with a smartphone can access the information that we have right now in Spanish and coming up in French in internet, in expocorcega.com, of each of the projects that were worked by our students. There were 79 structures and there are 79 QRs here. So we have the Gelfushi family house that fits into the first category. We also have the Piccioni Chateau, which is built across a square tower. We also have the Palazzo Simonpietri in Centuri. We also have the QR. This Palazzo Simonpietri, to me, it incorporates a square tower in the corner, but has been demolished. Then we come into the traditional houses, which is the Nedori house in Figarella. It's a house, a rectangular form with, okay, I don't have to explain this to you, Mr. Leroy. And then we have the Casa Stella in Morsiglia. And we have the Villa San Savoie and Luri, the Castellana. As you see, it is a marvelous and beautiful model done by the students at the School of Architecture. In the classical period, we have some of the houses, 4 houses. We have the Palazzo Padovani, which we reproduced again here in Puerto Rico because we left the model at the museum in Bastia. We have the Nicrosi Palazzo, the Palazzo Nicrosi. We have Villa San Jacques in Luri with its service quarters. We have also, which I could not do it, Casanova or Palazzo Vivoni in Cisco. And as the variations, we have the Chateau Fantauci in Morsiglia. We also have here the Villa Altieri, which breaks with a mold of the classical style of the Tuscan villa. It's more Beaux-Arts. And we have the double palazzo, the Palazzo Giorgi in Figarella. And finally, the creme de la creme, Palazzo Cagninacci, Jean Cagninacci in Figarella. And thanks to you, Michel Edouard, we were able to reproduce the painted ceiling of Palazzo Santo, Cagninacci in Figarella. It is an exquisite drawing. We also have in this hall PowerPoints that will allow the people to see the color. We have different details, chimneys, which they can play with. We have exteriors like fountains. So it's also an interactive and a way to give color to the whole experience, which the models are done white because we did not want to compete the old form with new manners of. And then we have the mausoleums, Requiem Opulentum, Opulent Requiem, the last houses. And then here we have again a panel explaining classification, the mausoleum with roofs with two pent and rectangular floor, tombeau with cupules and orthogonal, hexagonal, or circular or square floor plans, and the one with a pyramidal roof. So then we have the Nicrosi mausoleum, which I think it's a gorgeous example. We also have here the Agostini, Michele Agostini mausoleum. We have the Padovani mausoleum. We have the Paravicini mausoleum in Uri. And we have here the Napoleoni mausoleum in Centuri. It's just spectacular. And then we have the Piccioni with the Cadolini angel, which we placed here. And again here we have two iPads with PowerPoints that will show some of the interiors. And the last hall is the making of. It's where we show how the whole models and 3D models were made. It's called processes, from line to the model. And this is all of the components of the model making, using the laser cutter, using the 3D printer. As you can see, a lot of care was done for the detailing, using the vacuum forming and the molds that were done. It also has a video done by Jonathan Degal, which you know, about the whole process. The video is narrated by Jonathan, and it's practically the only sound that we have here in this room. We have the vacuum forming for the roofs, the schistons, the components, and then we have all the computer imaging that we did for the 3Ds that are available in internet. So, this is the exhibition. It's a very large hall. We have a lot of space. We can meander through the models, look at them from all the angles. This is what we had envisioned for Córcega, for the museum. But this hall, the space is much, much larger than the one allotted. So we were able to do 2 additional halls than we would have been able to do in Córcega. But anyhow, the models can be shipped, and the models can be set in Córcega according to the space allowed for the exhibition. This exhibition will be here until the 27th of November. So it has been allowed in the museum a couple of months to run. And I'm giving guided tours myself, Saturdays, people who are asking to come to see it. And remember, we're a lot of Corsicans descendants here in Puerto Rico. And as we leave, we give this panel of the collaborators of this exhibition. Okay. Oh, by the way, in the video we also give credit to all the people. I'll go back there so you can see the board. This, like I said, the documentary will be available. I will be sending you a copy in the French version. We have the credits. We have the people that helped us film in Córcega. We have the interviewed in Córcega, the interview in Puerto Rico, and the translations. We're responsible for the translation. So it's been a long journey. The program this year is 10 years old. It's its 10th anniversary, and it is in Puerto Rico and the university. I will be closing the program, not closing, leaving it dormant, just in case we need to reopen the program to have any other activity here or in Córcega or whatever. We really thank you for all your support in Córcega, and we hope that you can come during the months of September or October. We'll be getting in touch with you for that, and so you can come see the exhibition and you can participate in some discussion at the university in French. So thank you. I hope you can receive and see this okay.